somewhere on this planet, someone is screaming at a screen. Not because of war. Not because of hunger. Not because of anything that actually threatens their survival. Because a ball crossed a white line painted on a patch of grass. And the strangest part is not that it happened. The strangest part is that you completely understand why. You have felt it too. That tightening in your chest. That silence before the goal. That explosion of emotion that makes you hug a complete stranger or collapse onto your couch like something inside you just broke. Football is the most watched sport in human history. The 2022 World Cup final alone drew over 5 billion viewers. Think about that number for a second. 5 billion. That is more than half of every living human being on Earth, all staring at the same rectangle of grass, all feeling the same thing at the same time. So why? Why does a game do this to us? Why does a sport with no weapons, no war, and no real consequences trigger the same brain chemistry as the most important moments of your life? The answer is far stranger than you think. And it starts not in a stadium. It starts inside your skull, somewhere around 200,000 years ago. Your brain is ancient. It was not built for cities, or smartphones, or 90-minute matches. It was built for survival on an open savanna, where every second required fast decisions and extreme alertness. Your ancestors lived in tribes. Small groups of people, maybe 50 or 100, where belonging to the group was not optional. It was the difference between life and death. Alone, your ancestor was prey. Together, the tribe was power. And so your brain evolved to care, deeply and almost painfully, about group identity. About us versus them. About winning together and losing together. This was not a choice. It was wiring. The neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky has spent decades studying the biology of human behavior, and one of his core findings is this: the human brain cannot easily separate identity from group membership. When your group wins, your brain registers it as a personal victory. When your group loses, your brain processes it as a personal threat. Now replace tribe with team. Replace savanna with stadium. You never chose to feel that way about football. Your biology did it for you. But that is only the beginning. There is a chemical your brain releases called dopamine. You have probably heard of it. Most people describe it as the pleasure chemical, but that is not quite right. Dopamine is not about pleasure. It is about anticipation. It spikes not when good things happen, but right before they might. The neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz spent years mapping dopamine responses in the brain, and what he found was remarkable. Dopamine surges hardest when the outcome is uncertain. Not guaranteed. Uncertain. Your brain lights up most intensely precisely when it does not know what is going to happen next. Now think about a penalty shootout. The goalkeeper dives one way. The ball goes the other. Or the same way. You do not know. Nobody knows. And that unknowing is not just tension. It is, chemically, one of the most intense experiences your brain is capable of generating. Your dopamine system is firing at maximum capacity. Your heart rate spikes. Your palms sweat. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your body is treating a football match like a matter of life and death. Because for 200,000 years, uncertainty meant exactly that. And here is something researchers did not expect. A study published in the journal Frontiers in Psychology found that football fans watching a match show almost identical physiological stress responses to the players on the pitch. Your cortisol levels rise. Your testosterone shifts based on whether your team is winning or losing. Your immune system temporarily changes. You are not just watching the game. Your body believes it is playing. Now layer something else onto this. Something that goes even deeper than biology. Humans are story creatures. The The psychologist Jerome Bruner argued that humans do not understand the world through facts and data. They understand it through narrative, through characters, conflict, and resolution, through heroes and villains, underdogs and champions. Football is the most perfectly constructed story machine ever invented. Every match has a beginning, a middle, and an end that nobody knows in advance. Every tournament has characters. The aging legend playing his last World Cup. The teenager nobody believed in. The captain carrying the weight of an entire nation on his shoulders. The goalkeeper who has not let in a goal in 4 matches and is now, right now, walking toward the penalty spot to face the shot that decides everything. You do not even need to understand the offside rule to feel that story. In 2014, the sports psychologist Daniel Won published research on what he called basking in reflected glory, a phenomenon where fans of winning teams show measurable increases in self-esteem, social confidence, and even performance in unrelated cognitive tasks. When your team wins, you do not just feel happy. You feel better about yourself. You feel capable. You feel seen. And when your team loses, the opposite happens. One documented what he called cutting off reflected failure, where fans actively distance themselves from losing teams, sometimes within hours, to protect their own psychological identity. Football does not just give you joy or pain. It shapes who you think you are. But there is one more layer that most people never think about. And it might be the most powerful of all. Shared experience. For almost all of human history, you did not experience life alone. You ate together, slept together, mourned together, celebrated together. Solitude was rare and often dangerous. The human nervous system was calibrated for togetherness, for shared ritual, for collective feeling. And then the modern world arrived and slowly, quietly, began to take that away. You live in an apartment. You commute alone. You scroll alone. You eat alone more often than any human being in history ever did. Football gives it back. When you watch a match with 50,000 people in a stadium, or even with 3 friends on a couch, your brain releases oxytocin. The bonding hormone. The same chemical that floods your system when you hold someone you love. Research by the anthropologist Robin Dunbar found that synchronized physical and emotional experiences, like singing together, moving together, or reacting together to the same event, trigger oxytocin release and dramatically deepen social bonds. In some cases, faster than months of ordinary friendship. Football is a synchronization machine. Millions of people, across hundreds of countries, feeling the same surge of hope and the same collapse of devastation, at exactly the same second. That is not entertainment. That is one of the oldest human needs being met on a global scale. There are currently 8 billion people on this planet. They speak thousands of languages. They follow different gods. They eat different food and hold different values and disagree about almost everything. But show them a ball rolling toward a net, and they all hold their breath the same way. Because underneath all the flags and jerseys and chants, the game is not really about football. It is about belonging. About hope. About the unbearable beauty of not knowing what happens next. It is about the fact that your brain, shaped by hundreds of thousands of years of survival, still knows one truth above all others. We do better together. And right now, somewhere on this planet, someone is screaming at a screen. And for the first time, you know exactly why.
Thanks for hanging out. Remember to subscribe.